Warning. The following podcast contains excessive amounts of dumb jokes, subpar criticism, overly deep reads, and casual use of the fuck word and other fun expletives. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to We Might Be Critics. I'm Jake.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Sam.
I'm Jackson.
And Sam, what did we watch this week?
We watched Sahara, starring Matthew McConaughey, Penelope Cruz, and Steve Zahn, among others.
Yeah.
And Rainn Wilson was in
And
there for a
Rainn
little
Wilson,
bit, and
William H. Macy,
William H. Macy.
Lenny
Yeah.
James. There's a lot of
Lot of
recognizable
actors in this.
faces in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we want to start with the nerd facts?
We should start with the nerd facts. I have, of course, my usual nerd fact list here of the budget and the gross. So this is an interesting movie. We've covered a lot of box office flops this time around. This is the most impressive flop. $160 million budget, really high budget, gross of $119.2 million.
Yeah.
So this movie flopped very spectacularly to the tune of a little over $40 million.
Hold on, what was the initial budget again?
$160 million.
Well,
Still not higher than Wild Wild West.
initially the budget was 80, and then they doubled it halfway through
That's
filming.
a problem.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem. Where did they double it from?
This movie was apparently just stuck in, hell, development hell.
There was a lot that went into the pre-production for this movie, and the advertising for this movie. A lot of wild things. They had big expectations for this. Part of the advertising, however, was quite literally Matthew McConaughey painting the movie posters, getting it painted on the side of his Airstream, and driving across country with it.
That is the most Matthew McConaughey thing I think I've ever heard.
He kept a live blog. He was interviewed for MTV and the E! Network the entire way through. It was a spectacle. They had big dreams. This was supposed to be, guys, a trilogy.
A trilogy?
This was gonna
That
be
doesn't surprise me because at the end it sets it up
It does.
for more movies.
So
absolutely.
Does it?
Yeah, no, because it's you want to do some more jobs? Well, who decides the good guys? You get to choose your jobs. He's one more thing, and they poison that guy.
What?
It's absolutely set up for another movie.
It is based on the novel by
Okay.
Clive Cussler.
Well, I'm
They
gonna be
did a
reading that.
series of novels involving this character, Dirk Pitts, this
Okay.
absolute adventurer and treasure hunter. Now, initially the book is set much earlier, it's more 1920s, 1930s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's full-on adventure novel.
Yeah, that would have actually... I think that would have been better, to be honest.
Okay.
We'll get into it, but wouldn't it... Because that's a bit closer to when... I guess it doesn't matter. Whenever you're looking for ancient treasure...
Well, here's the thing. I want to say something. This movie gave me vibes of a very similar movie that came out a year before this.
Yeah, National Treasure, right?
Treasure.
Yeah, because it gave me those exact same vibes, too.
Super, super National Treasure vibes. Not in a bad way, but very much we have this historical thing that went missing in some wild fucking place. We gotta go find it.
Sahara's is a bit more
Sahara's
wild.
is a bit more
because,
wild, yeah.
Yeah.
National Treasure is all located in America still. But
Yeah.
Okay, I have... Wait, hold on. The idea of a boat floating...
No,
Full of dead
that's
people.
totally reasonable. I'm just saying.
It makes more
I
sense
would
to
like
you
to-
than the series of secret codes hidden everywhere for Nicolas
Yes.
Cage.
Specifically
This-
Nicolas Cage.
in fact,
Yes, I have no trouble believing
I will
that.
die on this hill that this movie's plot is kind of a huge fucking mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I liked it. I had a lot of fun watching it, but
Yeah, this movie is
it's all over the fucking place.
It has a lot of problems.
Speaking of nerd facts, I'm sorry. We're going to go back in just a moment. Also, I just think it's important to note, quick Google, because I was like, this was a major flop. I wonder if anything contributed to that. I didn't find anything concrete. What I did find is that the author of the book sued one of the producers for a lot of money, saying that he was told that he was going to have complete control, and that went on for a long time. The judge ordered him to pay. He came back to court, and it eventually settled, and there was a $20 million bet, thing they had to pay.
Settlement.
settlement. They had to pay, and they were fighting over who would pay for it. And fun fact, no dime was spent. Neither of them did, apparently.
That sounds about right. There are a lot of times where authors take money and come back with the I was promised creative control and then nothing really happens of it. Because, like, what really happened, probably, I'm not trying to, this sounds like a Witcher situation of he got his money, was fine with that. They didn't do things the way that he wanted, and so he decided to come.
Well, no, a year later, he had, like, sued again, and the California Court of Appeals overturned the previous judge's decision to award Crusader and the producer money.
Yeah, and this is a bit different, because, like, with the Witcher situation, it was like, oh, video games are stupid, and this will never make any money. Yeah, I'll take $20,000, and then it made a lot of money.
It did make a lot
and he
of
was
money.
like,
I'm saying it's in the same wheelhouse, not the same, not the same thing
but
completely.
that makes sense why I was stuck in production hell for so long. If, like, they were doing legal shit with it.
Kind of a cursed production.
Yeah.
Did anyone die?
No.
Okay, well, that's good.
At least none reported.
Well...
I don't think any. This looked to be a very clean movie, action scene wise.
Yeah.
Also, correction, they did pay, but they did not. Neither of them were able to claim that the other people owed, so they both lost money.
As it should be.
Yeah, they both had to pay for their own attorney fees. Crazy.
I have a question about the Matthew McConaughey driving around the country in a van.
Sure.
Do you want a photo?
Why did he choose to do that?
I think. Well, he was
he
was an executive producer on the film, so I'm sure he had some vested interest.
That's why I'm curious, because he was executive producer.
When did he get popular again? Because he was in, like, a lot of bad films, and then was it True Detective?
Matthew McConaughey, just because you're in a bad film doesn't make you, like...
No, but he had, like, a down period for a while, and...
I mean, just because you don't see them as often doesn't mean it's a down period, per se, but go...
Yeah, but there was a period of time where he started hitting a lot of really good films. Like, he was in a lot of stuff that made, like, a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like Dallas Buyers Club and...
he very much had a resurgence around the early 2010s, like 20... Or mid-2010s, I guess, because it would have been like 2013 through 2017 would have been.
Well, how much of a resurgence is that? If this was a 2005 film, and then that's 5 years of, like, pre-production and doing other things, and then you see him on TV again, that's...
Dallas Buyers Club 2013 was a year before True Detective in 2014, so all that kind of happened.
It's like an 8-year
You are forgetting an incredibly important movie in Matthew McConaughey's career, Magic Mike. Thank you very much.
Which took place when?
2012.
Yeah, so it's 2005.
So yeah, early
he's got a filmography, so he's just sort of looking for a good project.
He was also in Tropic Thunder in 2008. What are you talking about?
He was. Okay, Matthew McConaughey hasn't had a
He's a working actor.
No, he's just kind of been killing.
I've never seen Tropic Thunder.
That doesn't surprise me.
I forgot he was in Tropic Thunder, but he killed. Yeah. He's really good in Tropic Thunder.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
It's like one of the few it's one of the few times he's got a role where he's not like Mr. Charisma. He's just kind of a loser, actually. We should actually talk about Sahara a little bit.
I guess we probably should. Well, that is what we watched.
Did we get through all the nerd facts?
Well, those are the big ones.
I mean, most of them, I think.
Most of the movie's big, like, things that stick out are just how much it struggled to get made.
Yeah, like, how do you double your budget like that, man? That's...
Someone believed.
Someone thought they had a sure thing, and I know why. I think they had a
National
sure thing.
Treasure came out a year before this and was immensely popular.
And they aped a lot of movies in this. They aped Bond towards the end really hard, like...
Not towards the end. It was throughout the entire film.
With that music,
the movie,
all the time.
The music
was very
God, the music was so Bond. It was like, every time it came on, I was like, that's James Bond music. And the heavy... The dude with the turban.
No, it had everything. It had the sleazy bad guy. It had the invincible, like, bodyguard. It had literally the solar panel reflector scene from GoldenEye.
It wasn't... Not Gold... Oh, yeah.
No, yeah, it's GoldenEye, because it's where him and Sean... It's where Pierce Brosnan and Sean Bean are fighting, and he gets knocked down off of the thing, which...
it's also... Let's talk about what other movies this movie is. Because it's like a pandemic horror thing, kind of.
Yeah,
it could
has
be.
moments of that.
Yeah.
It has scenes where it's very, like...
Adventure movie is definitely its main thing.
It's mainly an adventure movie.
Big time.
I'm trying to think of what else it has. it's so much more of a Bond movie than like every time that music hit, I thought about it, and with the heavy, I thought about it.
It's quippier than a Bond movie. It leans a little more Indiana Jones as far as like the
Yeah.
characterization.
That's the vibe I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Granted, I haven't seen a lot of Bond films.
It's a lot like
it's very Bond.
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
especially
to-
like early like Roger Moore Bond or
Yeah.
something. Where it's
It's
really silly.
very Roger Moore Bond. It's
Yeah.
very silly. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Mhm.
But yeah, let's talk about the movie itself a little bit. Do you guys have any thoughts?
Sure,
prayers?
I've got some thoughts.
I'm gonna hit a couple plot points just in general. So, the fever dream that we're about to discuss makes slightly.
Okay, look, I know it's not the most, like, I wouldn't say most articulate plot. It's very cohesive throughout the whole way. They skim over some things.
I'm not saying that it's not cohesive. I'm saying that if we immediately jump into our points, it might get a little confused.
I just want to say about the plot, it starts with a super solid hook about this like mysterious missing thing with Confederate gold on it, and then they just start piling shit on top of that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's gonna sound like we're talking about multiple movies. Basically, Matthew McConaughey and company work for a group that recovers stuff underground, and he's been looking for. Nope, we're going. And he's been looking for this.
He's a treasure hunter, damn it.
Do you want the actual names, or I'm gonna let you keep going?
I'll go.
He's a treasure hunter.
No, he's a treasure hunter, and
He's a treasure hunter for some organization called NAMBLA or something.
Okay, let me finish, guys. No, so they're treasure hunters. He's gonna go and try to find this. He borrows his boss's, like, fancy, like...
Yacht is the word.
It's not a yacht. That's a
yacht.
speedboat.
No, it's kind of more of a yacht.
It's weird, right? Because there are different types of yachts. There's like mega yachts, and then that does classify as a yacht.
It's a yacht.
Okay,
But
they take his yacht into an area where there's a civil war going on to go look for this boat, and simultaneously there's another side plot going on where these
there's a disease.
Yeah, these WHO doctors are going in, and they want to go in to track where this pandemic is starting. They think it's a pandemic. And they can't get in. They end up hitching a ride on the yacht with Matthew McConaughey and company.
Mm-hmm.
Someone take over for me?
Oh, you lost the plot.
Yeah, I did,
On the
Sam.
yacht. Okay, I'm going to give you the bare bones of what this movie does. Matthew McConaughey finds a woman. Him and his buddies go out. There's Matthew McConaughey. There's his friend. There's
Al.
Dwight
Okay.
Vermeer.
I know all their names.
Do you?
It's Dirk, Al, Ruben, and Penelope Cruz.
Rudy.
Yeah.
So close.
Rudy and
close.
Eve.
Eve, yeah. She had because every time I said Eve, I was thinking Eva.
It's
Eva
Ava.
Longoria. But,
Yeah.
so yeah, those people
Yeah.
have an adventure looking for a boat, and they get caught up in all this wacky hijinks along the way. That's the plot of this movie.
Wacky Hijinks the movie.
Yeah, it really is.
Wacky hijinks, the movie.
Yeah, they try to stop a pandemic.
It's a pandemic that's actually a toxic waste dump gone awry that's being caused by a solar power plant for some reason.
but they're...
That's explained in the movie, okay? You
Okay,
guys are really
poorly.
trying. You're working hard to shit on this
Poorly.
movie.
I'm
You
not
guys
trying to shit on this movie.
I'm
Sam.
explaining the
We're-
plot.
This is literally what happens.
The plot is nothing but okay. Look.
Okay,
I'm not saying
hold
I
on.
didn't
No,
enjoy this
Let's give
movie.
Sam her fair shake. Please, go ahead.
You know the plot?
Yes.
All right. So movie starts.
The movie does indeed start
The
With
Texas is an ironclad from the Civil War that is
Yeah.
We
supposed to
start in
have
the Civil
Confederate
War.
gold on it.
yes.
Hold on, I want to make a point. We start in the Civil War, the
We do.
American Civil War, not the Civil War we're going to.
No, there are two Civil Wars.
Yes. In the history of man, there have only been two Civil Wars.
Inside of you, there are two civil wars.
Continue.
All right, so this is the thing that Dirk, i.e. Matthew McConaughey,
Yeah.
wants to find more than anything else.
Can I say something about Matthew McConaughey?
Sure, yeah.
I was hoping so bad that the first time we see Matthew McConaughey, he was going to be shirtless, and god damn, this movie didn't deliver.
Yeah, they did.
No, they definitely... They capitalized on the fact he looks good shirtless.
Yeah.
Well, he was also swimming a lot. That made sense. That wasn't...
Makes sense. I'm not complaining.
No one's complaining
That's a
about
bad thing.
shirtless Matthew McConaughey.
All
It's a
right.
value-added feature.
So,
Dirk.
Dirk, who's a part of NUMA, a marine organization,
Thank you.
National Underwater Marine Agency,
Yeah.
that is started by his former Navy admiral and himself and out.
Yes,
These three, along with Rudy,
Yeah.
their sort of tech guy, played by Rainn Wilson, they look for treasure and they do salvages.
Yeah.
In amongst this, while they're out doing a salvage for some... it's not a pharaoh, but it's definitely the tomb of a king.
Yeah.
Not
It's very sarcastic. It's very...
It's a sarcophagus.
Yeah.
ancient something.
Yeah. They encounter Ava, who is the member of the WHO,
Yeah.
who is out looking for the source of potential pandemic. They'd had
Yes.
6 cases thus far that were widespread enough, but all similar enough. They were trying to find the main point. However, they weren't going to get any kind of approval to go into a heavily militarized area with the Civil War happening in Mali. So, he happens to save her, as Matthew McConaughey is known to do.
Yeah.
Drags her on the
Well,
boat,
'cause-
and the Admiral goes, hey, you're with the WHO, I know some people, I can get you in contact with people, maybe they'll help. In amongst this, Dirk finds out from an underground contact that there's some hints of a chance of his, big dream of finding the Ironclad.
So we never saw that guy, by the way. Again.
We don't need to.
He shows up to get the clue from him, and then he goes away.
I get
just
it.
like every
I just
Bond
like
movie.
that guy.
I did too. Hey man, there are a lot of cool clue givers in Bond that you only see once too, but...
And because it's a movie, everyone ends up needing to go to the same place, which means, you know what? Let's share the boss's yacht.
I'm not complaining about that.
That's
I'm not
very
complaining about
movie-esque.
that part. I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's very messy how we get there.
You gotta unravel a bunch of threads. so you
And
can
I
tie
don't
them all
think any of
together
us
again.
are arguing that it wasn't a fun time getting there.
Yeah.
It was just a little messy.
I'm saying it's not nearly as messy as you guys think it is. What is the...
Disagree.
Okay. At what point does it fall apart for you?
Okay.
I don't think it ever falls apart. I think it's just...
It's not that it falls apart, it's just that it's all over the place.
Do you know how, Sam, the best way I can describe this is headphones. You know how sometimes your headphones are like, you get them out of the package and they're not tangled up and they're perfect and you got plenty of length on them?
Sure.
Okay, you know how sometimes your headphones have been in your pocket all day and you still plug them in and use them even though they've got about 18 different
But they work.
holes in them, but they work?
Okay, so I don't understand that feeling because I still use headphones from the 90s.
I get what you're talking about. John.
I mean, yeah,
the
it makes
metaphor
sense to
is
us.
spot on.
Because it's like, the earphones still work, right?
Yeah.
Even though they're tangled in a mess.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Is
But that
this
tangled
movie,
mess is one solid line that you can follow your way through if you're actually paying attention.
I was
I
paying
paid
attention. I was paying
really
attention
close
throughout this whole
attention,
movie.
actually. I think my metaphor was good. I'm sticking
No,
with it.
that makes perfect sense to me.
I'm just saying, as much as it does fast forward through certain elements, there's quite a bit of the movie where they go, and we need to be here for these reasons. Wonderful montage. And they're off doing the thing. And they say that,
Okay.
and you see it, and it happens. And we don't waste any time in this movie. Whatsoever.
Let's do a thing.
Okay.
Also, I disagree with that point too.
Yeah.
We waste a little time. Let's do a thing where we have our base plot elements.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna throw something into the stew. I sent those men to assassinate the doctors. Why was that ever? Why?
That was because... No, I'm looking at the name.
Okay,
Don't you
it's
fucking
fine.
start with
I'll
me.
wait. I'll wait.
Massard
Yes.
was the guy who was working with General Kazim.
Yes.
Massard was at the big banquet wherein
I know.
they were introduced by the Admiral. And in that moment, Penelope Cruz's character, Ava, full on went, there is a plague, I am looking into it,
Yes.
I am going to be going there, you need to contact the authorities because
But
I'm
why?
going to.
But why do they need to kill her?
Because she's making noise. And once they find out that she made it into the border, if she has any proof and gets out, they're in big trouble. Because his wonderfully clean way of disposing of toxic waste is not perfect
Here's another
because
problem.
they're
Here's
slowing
another
down.
problem with that, though. The general, the warlord,
Yeah.
he never really seems to care about the whole toxic... because at one point he says that he doesn't even think that that's happening, right?
Well, he doesn't care. However, he's getting money from the guy doing the toxic waste.
Yeah. But they don't know that it's affecting anything.
The other guy, Massard,
He doesn't know.
no, but he has enough knowledge that if there's any noise about that, his business is going to get
Okay.
shut down. This
All
is
right.
all about PR. And then
right.
when he finds out there is stuff, then he's actually concerned and he shuts down the plant. Because again, PR and lawsuits.
Okay, I'm not saying that it isn't there. I'm just saying that it's presented in a way that's not great.
What else would you have it presented as?
I probably would have dropped that entire plot thread if I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
I just wouldn't have
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, there's a lot of the busyness doesn't come from it's not
Okay,
wrapped up. It comes from the fact that it just shouldn't have been there to begin with.
Let's simplify this.
Okay.
We take Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
We take her character.
Yeah.
She is no longer a woman of medicine. Her and her partner are archaeologists. Historical, like, they're looking to preserve history in a good way.
But then we get double dirks.
No. Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
He's looking for this ancient treasure, this ancient Confederate gold.
Which is different than the archaeologist.
Yes,
who would
which
be
is
He's
different
not even
than
looking for the...
1%.
Okay, he's not even looking for the gold.
No. This isn't my version.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so we're rewriting the movie. Okay.
I'm saying how you make this movie simple. You take those two.
Yeah.
You have them, we're looking for the same thing. Let's go here. The villains are like, we know gold's there. We just
want
can't
the
find
gold.
it. We want the gold.
So everyone's
I need it for
just
my
trying
war
to-
effort, and I need it because I'm a greedy businessman.
But the whole point of the movie was they didn't know the gold was there. It was the Texas they were looking for.
I know. I'm not saying in the context of the movie that that's wrong. I'm saying it would have been better if my plot was there. It would have been a lot more simple and a lot more concise.
I think a simplified plot would have helped this movie a lot, because that's like having too complex of a plot on an action movie generally.
I don't
doesn't
think of it
work,
as too
weakens it.
complex.
It's not
It's
alright,
messy.
complex is the wrong word.
Yeah,
but
it's messy as all hell.
I think if they had dropped the... Oh, what do you call it? The like... Going in to try to... trying to trace the pandemic, I think it would have been... I think you could have even made Eva and her partner like journalists or something, and there's a civil war going on. That would make sense.
But why?
you're
But
tagging
everyone
along.
knows there's a civil war going on. The whole point for the toxins was so they'd have a reason to find the boat.
Well, the reason that... Hold on, a reason to find the boat?
Reason to be able to find the boat.
But they could have just... No, that's not true at all, because they find the cave painting. Where it's
Because they're there
Also,
and they are shown...
I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. The way they have the boat is the luckiest goddamn thing ever.
No, because the boat is inside the dried up riverbank that is also near the plant where it's down below.
Yeah, if you don't put the plant there, it's fine too.
It's
But
fine,
they have
'cause
no reason to find the boat whatsoever.
But they find the cave painting. They could still find the cave painting.
They could still find the boat via the cave painting.
No, they couldn't because it was buried deep within the giant, dried up riverbed. All they have is a rough structure.
They don't
idea.
need that, though.
Didn't they find it because they started blowing up the hill with dynamite anyway? Like,
Yes,
didn't,
because they were skipping the guy who was trying to kill them because they got caught at the
No, my point is they don't need that, because they could have found the cave painting in a completely different way, or the same way, because the way they find it is a ball gets kicked into a cave. and
while
then they see
they're
a cave.
there treating the people who were there because of the plague.
That's not the reason they're there, though. They get captured.
Because she was there treating the people who were sick.
That's not why they're there.
But that is though.
No.
Yes.
Wait, no, the cave painting is when he was going to
I know. When they're
grab the doctor.
They're with the people.
When they're with
He's
the Tuareg.
going to save the people. Okay. He's going to save the doctor, right?
Yeah.
But I thought the reason that they were going, like, to meet up with the Civil War people was just to get across the border again.
No.
100%.
They did not meet up with the Tuareg
I will
people.
pull up.
They
I
did
will
not
go
meet
in
up.
there
They
and
had
pull
no
up.
intention of meeting up with the Tuareg
They
individuals.
did, because Matthew McConaughey says, all we have to do is go cross the border and
They were
figure
driving
things out
3
too."
hours to get out of
Yes.
Tuareg country so that they could then cross the border.
Yes.
As he is traveling,
But
they
then
come
they
to
get
a
captured.
valley and they get captured because they're
But they
trying to
get captured.
leave.
That's my point, though.
But they didn't plan to get captured.
But they don't need the pandemic. That's my point.
The reason they stayed alive after they got captured is because she was there and was able to doctor and could help people.
Well, no, I think they would have stayed alive regardless.
Well, they're nice people, but still, the whole reason
No,
that they are
I don't-
entrusted into the group of...
100%, because they get taken to the dude, and the only reason they even know she's a doctor is because she's like...
Because she says so.
Because she says so, but you don't need that.
But she says so, and he goes, yes, there is a big problem with
Okay.
plague here that we're
Let's go
trying
back.
to solve.
Let's go back to Jackson's version of this movie. The archaeologist and the treasure hunters get captured by the other faction of the Civil War.
Sure.
We're looking for this boat to try to preserve the history of our country. I think there's something you want to see. And he brings them down to the cave painting. And it's like, my ancestors saw this years ago and left this.
or they're leaving to get out. If we go with my journalist version, they're getting her out because she saw something she wasn't supposed to see, which means that the warlord's still after her. We cut out that guy.
Why would they
Or
do
he...
that?
Because he's looking for the boat. And then they end up in that place. They're going to leave. The ball gets kicked down there.
Yeah.
He goes down there, and treasure hunter Matthew McConaughey's like, we gotta go do it.
Yeah.
But okay, what you guys are forgetting is the whole reason they knew how to find the boat.
But you don't need that.
You don't need
You don't need it. I know what you're saying. The whole reason that they find the boat is, oh no, that's not at all the reason. Okay, go with you. I will counter your point with my point. Go for it.
I don't have words anymore for how much it bothers me. Okay. So they are trying to leave after they get killed. Or after Frank gets killed while they're trying to help the people to figure out what is the issue with plague of some kind in Mali. As they're driving out, they're trying to leave the border. They are captured by the Tuaregs as they're leaving through the valley. They are tied up, being brought to their leader, being brought to Modibo, who looks at them as like, why are you here? The only reason he entertains the conversation is, okay, you guys also hate Kazim. Followed by, you're a doctor. Wonderful. Come look at my sick people. As they're having that moment, Al is off entertaining the children. He drops the ball, quite literally. They end up with the cave paintings.
Yes.
He shows them the cave paintings. Look, it's your ironclad. We have a vague idea where it could be. This is the whole fucking desert. It could be anywhere.
They don't have
However,
they don't.
Okay, they have one reference point. There is the idea of it being where there used to be the flooded Niger River, and they have where there was a fort, of which there may be more than one, but who knows in that area where it could possibly be. Unless they're going to start excavating an entire riverbank by themselves, the three of them, in a war-torn country, there's no way they're going to find that on their own. As they're standing there, they go, it's probably buried from the drive-up riverbed, because all of that water is still beneath the desert. To which they go, which explains why this plague toxin has been able to spread so far in multiple directions. Those 2 points come together, which when they're following the riverbed to get to the source of the plague, that's where they happen to be in the area wherein the ironclad is found.
No.
No? Because that's the plot!
Because you're missing a huge part of the movie. We're going to go back into the context of the actual movie, Sahara.
The one I'm living in or the one you're making up?
They know... No, the actual movie.
Okay.
They go to the point where the cave painting shows it landed, right?
Yeah.
And instead of being able to look around for it, they climb to the top of the tower, and then they see the huge Bond villain complex where they're unloading the chemical waste.
Yeah.
You're missing that part of the movie.
No, because they went there in effort. Because in that moment, when they're looking at the cave painting,
they don't even.
When they're looking at the cave painting, Jackson, they have the discussion.
My point is Matthew McConaughey. He like in that moment, he like basically gives up on looking for the boat. He seems
That's the point of his character. As much as he wants the boat, anytime there's a situation where it's I want to find the ironclad, as he's searching and he has good intel about where it could be, he goes, "Oh no, Eva's in danger. It's gonna have to wait."
I know.
And then it's gonna have to wait. It's more important to fix these people than it is to find my damn boat.
It's not a problem.
Which means he is rewarded at the end of the movie by being able to find the boat after he's done everything in his power to save these people.
It's not okay. It is not a problem with Matthew McConaughey's character. It is not a problem that they had to figure out this plague plot that they have in the movie. I'm trying to make the point that this movie would be so much less messy if they just didn't have the plague plot at all.
But if they don't have the plague plot, he's just a greedy bastard looking for a boat.
Yes!
I don't want him to be a greedy bastard. I want him
just Indiana Jones, and that's fine.
He doesn't need to be Indiana Jones.
Wait,
He's closer to Nathan Drake.
Nathan Drake's a greedy bastard too.
Nathan Drake is actually way more greedy than Indiana Jones.
This isn't driven by it belongs in a museum, and this isn't I need money. This is I want to find the ironclad.
Sam, I feel like you're adding way more emotional weight to this than it has.
I'm looking at Dirk and just seeing Matthew McConaughey in his pretty face, and there's more there.
Hold on, I have something to say. You and Jackson have argued back and forth for 15 minutes. So, I do have something to say. This could very much be a belongs in a museum thing, because that's literally the company he works for is putting it in the museum when they find it.
But he just wants to find it. It's not because it doesn't belong in your hands.
Maybe he's a history buff.
He is a history buff.
Then that's all you need.
But that doesn't explain all of the other important, the part where he's supposed to,
Let's ignore all of that.
All right.
Let's say all of this is super important. We cannot ignore the fact that the way that they end up finding the boat is by pure fucking chance.
And they're in the right area. They're back where they...
Exactly!
No,
they don't need
Gotta
to
stop
play!
banging on the table. I'm
All right, okay, Jackson.
Yeah.
So they were at the fort where there was the
God.
last.
visual reference.
Oh my god,
They could have
guys.
just looked around.
They could have just looked around.
for a few days.
Neither of you are winning this. So I'm gonna
My point is, how else would they find the boat, Jackson? Do you want them to dig in the sand for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I don't care. They can throw bombs and find it the same way that they found it in the movie. I'm just saying they don't need the plague plot.
All right, Rachel.
I just wish this movie was a little less messy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Rachel, what's your point?
I'm gonna lighten the mood a little bit with Dirk Pitt's a dumb name, and I know that's probably from the book too.
It is
but
from the book.
I just want to throw that down. That as far as adventure
I
heroes
like-
go, Dirk Pitt's a bad name.
Let's
lame.
Let me continue arguing with people. I actually like the name Dirk Pitt. I think it's a
I
very
hate it.
rugged adventurer name.
I feel like it's trying too hard.
It's got just the right amount of edge on it.
His name's Dirk.
That's a great name.
Dirk's a great.
No, I like the edge reference, just a little bit of edge.
Mhm.
Dirk. Okay,
Dirk's a
Jake,
very
you have
edgy
something
name.
important to say?
I mean, I have stuff to say, but honestly, I don't know how I'm going to compete with that. The stuff that I have written down is more like the construction of the film itself, not so much the plot or story, because
Is the plot not the construction of the film
Okay,
itself?
okay, hold on. We're gonna have to stop this just because your whole issue is you think, I think it's too much movie.
It is.
No,
It's too much
I'll agree
movie
with
to
that
fit in
statement.
this movie.
All
it
right,
is way too much movie.
fine.
This
You have too much movie. The movie that we did watch, though, are there any other points about this movie that you have strong opinions on, other than the fact that you don't like the big plot that gives Penelope Cruz
Probably-
agency?
I have plenty of positive things to say about this movie too. We just haven't gotten to them yet.
Then let's get there.
all right. I'll
Good.
start with the positive thing. That boat chase on the river was awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, the boat chase
Yeah.
was really cool, and it provided a lot of characterization for our three boys, who I was really sad turned into our two boys. I was hoping it was going to be, Matthew McConaughey, Rainn Wilson, and guy whose name I
Rudy.
forget. No,
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn. Thank you.
Yeah, but his character's name is Rudy,
No,
right?
Rainn Wilson's character's name is
Oh,
Rudy.
I'm bad
Steve
at
Zahn
things.
is Al.
Oh, gotcha.
Al is the world's best sidekick because he's not a sidekick.
He's
a
actually
partner.
kind of, he's sort of actually the
more
most
actiony action.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of the action hero to Matthew McConaughey's Bard. Which is great. I really like... That's another thing. Everyone in this movie is super competent, which is nice, which is why I forgave the dumb but cool sand glider scene.
I love
No,
this
that part's
glider.
awesome.
That part's awesome.
Oh,
because
that's
you know
great.
what? They do that
That's
same
excellent.
scene almost in Wild Wild West, but neither of the characters are competent, so you never believe that they could do that. And this one, it's like, yeah, all right, I'll suspend my disbelief. These guys are awesome. They've been badass action heroes the whole movie.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they be able to do this?
Yeah.
That's a positive. I really like, actually, most of the action scenes. I think this movie does action
Yeah, those actually
really
super
well.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the cannonball scene was really cool,
Yeah,
even
the
though...
entire
was fun.
final confrontation was really good.
And even though that is not how cannonballs work at all, and no way would that ever be how that goes.
Well,
But
you
it's,
made a note about
it's
that
cool.
in the
So,
beginning of the movie. Whenever a cannibal bounces straight off an iron,
straight the fuck up too, not just like thud plump.
Yeah.
But
They're
that's fine.
consistent.
It's an action movie. Like I'm more than willing to forgive them not having the most like realistic take on explosions and things like that, as long as they're cool to look at, which
Yeah.
for the most part they are in this movie.
Mhm.
The actual, as far as like shot composition goes, and as far as like cinematography goes, I actually think there's a lot of good here too.
Mhm.
Like I think the like overview shots on the river and when they're going through Africa and things like that are really nice
really
to look
pretty.
at. There's a lot of good, like, I think the soundtrack for this movie is
Slamming.
pretty...
It's really
Slam's
good.
pretty good.
It's a Bond
It's
soundtrack.
yeah, it's a great
Well,
time.
it's poppier than a Bond
Oh, well,
soundtrack.
okay. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. There are two parts to this movie soundtrack, and it's Bond and it's like
And then-
2000s Party.
Yeah, Party
Yeah.
Beats
2000 Party, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 100%
It's like
here.
party boat music.
Yeah.
It's like not even
Yacht
just
rock.
it's yacht rock.
Which is it's super appropriate.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah,
that's
no,
fine.
it's
It should be.
fantastic.
It's a really smart soundtrack choice.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, however, the drama sucks. All the like dramatic scenes, there aren't many of them that are like 4, I think, and they all take place in a abandoned village, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They're not very good. They kind of, when they kill off Frank, I believe is his...
It's kind of
It's
nothing.
Frank.
It's
Yeah.
kind of nothing, and it sucks, because it's this should be both the departure of a character that we like. We do like Frank. He's not
Fine.
underutilized.
There's no
but
real
there's no
emotional
real
impact.
emotional impact there. And this should be an establishment for the villain. But once again, he just kind of seems like a I don't want to say tryhard or poser, but it don't feel very threatened in that scene. Because, look at my expensive gun. These bullets cost $30. And it's that's expensive, but it's not that expensive. If I had a really rare antique gun as a man who makes not very much money every year, I could afford that. So it's one of those things where it's okay, I get what they were trying to do with that scene, and I don't think it's horrible by any means, but I also think that it's And then you have the scene of her crying over him. It's I don't think that that's bad. I think that's a reasonable response, but also it's man, it's been 10 fucking 20 fucking minutes. He hasn't said a word. He's dead, and I don't think the performance
she's a
on
doctor.
her and I don't think the performance on her being sad it doesn't sell me on it. I don't think it's great.
I don't think her being a doctor has anything
No,
to do
no, no,
with-
no. She runs up, she checks his carotid immediately. She knows he's dead, and then she dramatically rips off his shirt to, I don't know, do what?
Okay, just because she's a doctor doesn't mean she's allowed to not react in an
Okay, but
impulsive manner.
That's a dramatic reaction. The only reason you'd be ripping off someone's shirt like that is if you were trying to stem the bleeding. She's already established this man is dead. At this point, he's been sitting there for a while. He is probably, stiff.
Well, still, in that moment, I think second impulse is, can I do any kind of chest compressions? Can I bring him back?
You're not at that point.
I don't have a
I-
problem with this. My point of this is not the realism.
Yeah.
This movie has...
No, there's no
I
realism.
do not care about realism in action movies
It's
that
not
much.
supposed
It just
It's not supposed
feels
to be
very...
real.
It feels like she doesn't care until that moment.
Well, I don't even
Her life
think
was on the
it's
line until that moment.
I
That
don't
was-
even think it's that. I think it's just the reaction in the way that it is acted, and I don't know what was going on set that day. It just felt, the end of that scene with her crying felt a bit wooden to me. It's not... She's good in almost the rest of the movie. I have very few complaints about the acting in this movie. That is one moment that I just thought was not the best take that they could have used, and I don't know why I'm hyper-focusing on that, but I guess that's where my ADHD-addled brain decided to hyper-focus.
I think it has something to do with how fast-paced this movie is. It doesn't slow down. It tends to, speed through scenes. So,
Yeah.
the bit where they show up and start killing everyone
Yeah.
at the village where Frank dies.
Yeah.
That is so breakneck. If you look away for a second, you miss the first part of that scene entirely. And half of it's done by the time you get there. And as far as her getting in time to grieve, it is started with, we've got to get out of here, followed by sort of broken, confused freak out.
I think that might be why I have a problem with it, because it starts with we've got to get out of here, and then she goes into the freak out. If it had been freak out, then hey, we got to get out of here. I think I'd buy that more. It's really weird that they paced it in such a way, and but that scene lasts for not very long. It's a pretty minor gripe in the grand scheme of things. Cannonballs don't work like that. We already talked about that.
Well, I will say, the cannonballs don't work like that. Is, if we're talking the very beginning with them bouncing off the ironclad,
Yeah.
I think that plays into the humor of the big fight later on, wherein these are 2 foot thick, double plated iron. Ain't nothing getting through to us.
No, I love that scene.
That's hilarious.
That scene, the bullets coming through immediately, and then
That's
Could
hilarious.
you run that by me one more time?
It's really good. And the back and forth. God, I think that Penelope Cruz is awesome in this movie, and I don't even think she's a bad love interest. There is not nearly as much chemistry between her and Matthew McConaughey as there is between him and
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn.
Yeah.
Which there is so much there.
Yeah, I feel like also the movie would have been better if we had just nixed that romance plot, because there was no reason for that except that last scene with Penelope Cruz in a bikini.
I mean,
There's no payoff.
I'll give the
there.
movie this. He saved her, and they already agreed to meet up.
Yeah,
So,
but that also felt odd. The whole
No.
okay, no, they'd known each other for no time.
They were
at all.
flirting. It was just flirting.
Yeah, they were flirting. No, but it all just it feels very
Okay,
it feels very wooden.
I didn't think
more
it
like
felt
a thing. this man saved my life. We've been flirting back and forth a little bit. You know what? If he's ever in
He's
the
a pretty
area,
good-looking dude.
if he's ever in the area, yeah, we
He's
can
Matthew
go on a date.
McConaughey without a shirt on.
Yeah,
If I ever
okay.
get a chance, you know what? I could go on a date. I don't. It's not the look. I'm going off of the patented Wild Wild West scale of romantic interests in a movie.
Okay, no, we cannot use that as a scale.
We've
I'm
been
doing
doing it for. We're on round 2, bracket 2, and we certainly have it in the past. I don't
Good
see any
God,
reason to
y'all.
stop now.
That's a depressing. It's a depressing metric. No, I don't know.
it?
I just feel like
It's
it
not perfect. I don't think that it adds that much, but I don't think it's bad.
I don't think it adds. I don't think it adds enough.
Okay, but I'm gonna defend it because in this movie, so many action movies do. They show up, they flirt, and then halfway through the movie, they're in love with one another,
Yeah.
and they'll kill for each other, and they've already kissed. This movie does exactly what I want it to do, where it's just they slowly keep flirting through the whole movie, and then once it's done, the very end moment when they're on vacation from the
There's
trauma.
actually something that I really appreciate that this movie does. Whenever they're up on the helipad, and he's like pulling her up, they don't go in for the kiss or
They
the
don't
"I
kiss.
love you." They just
No, I
like pull
appreciate
her up,
that.
and it's like, okay, let's go.
They do not kiss. They do not say "I love you" ever in the entire movie.
That's
they are
great.
just flirty friends for most of it.
That's
In
great.
the very end, when they're finally at the Bay of Monterey, is when it's like, okay, yeah, they can hang out now. They can start to date now.
Yeah.
It doesn't go.
No,
we're
and
not
I
you're my paramour.
appreciate that. It feels, and maybe it is just because Steve Zahn and Matthew McConaughey had way more chemistry.
Yeah.
We're not arguing that.
I think maybe that's why I didn't love it. It was
That's
just
fair.
like, this feels like you're trying to have this connection and it's not there.
Would it have felt better if Steve Zahn was also in that scene at the end of the movie?
Yes. Honestly,
Yes.
I want him to be
That
sitting
would've been
back. I want
perfect.
him to be sitting back, cracking open a beer
In the
while
car?
they're like,
Yeah.
while they're like, I love that. Are you kidding me?
No, that.
I don't feel
I'm
like
gonna be
it's
real with
complete
you.
without all three of them.
No, I'm
which
going to
is
be
fair,
completely real with
because
you. When
those-
it backed up and he wasn't in the car, I was like, I don't know if I love this movie as much. Because I need him third wheel in it.
yeah.
He's the perfect. He is such a. I think I do need to talk about him though.
I love Al
Steve-
so much.
Al's
He's
super
awesome.
Good.
He's
real
the true hero, yeah.
He is.
Chuck and her on the same wavelength.
He's so cool,
Mhm.
and that's it. He's just cool, and I like that.
Well, he's cool, but he's a
cooler than
dork.
Matthew McConaughey in some.
But he's a
times.
huge
He's
dork,
a huge
too.
dork.
Mhm.
Everyone in this movie kind of is. Even Matthew McConaughey
Yeah.
is a huge dork. The most non-dorky person is Penelope Cruz's character, and that's just because she's
That
you
makes
know,
sense.
a doctor.
Yeah.
She's here for. She has actual business. She's not just yucking it up.
She's
treasure
on a
hunting.
mission.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know,
One of my favorite things about Al is the joke that they bring back towards the very end where he loses his hat and he's so upset about losing
Every
his
time.
hat every time.
really great, mid 90s Texas Longhorns hat, which I was.
That's
bit
rough.
of niche knowledge that I have for everyone there.
Al is
Enjoy.
so good. He's got so many good quotable lines. You know, my dad collected coins.
Yeah, I love how he brings that up twice.
Twice.
Like he didn't, like Matthew McConaughey didn't hear him the first time.
Well, he did.
Well,
he got
no, but
cut
he-
off.
He did
Yeah.
get cut off. Okay.
And he got to
But I
finish
just-
it up.
That's just so like he's been holding that in all
Well,
day.
I really appreciate that because I feel like for me that was the kind of moment where it's like he's not dumb.
No.
No,
Because
he's
he is kind of like they definitely give off this like impression that he is like technologically like super savvy, but elsewhere very much not.
Yeah.
And they do a good job in that moment and kind of calling back to that joke where it's like my dad used to collect coins, which feels like a throwaway line where he was not listening to it, and then to have that follow through where he's like, I think you should get this is ridiculous
Yeah.
because, and it's a completely like logical reason, like
Yeah.
he has coins from all these ancient coins and they all end up in a shoebox in New Jersey, so
And that's not even like because he's trying to say you're an idiot. It's the
It's just
hey
like
man.
maybe we've been
there's-
trying at this.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe
a
it's
thousand
not
reasons
here.
this could
No.
have happened. Don't lose faith, and also there's no way to know it's here.
Yeah.
No, my favorite Al quote is when are we going to sit down and rethink our decision making paradigm?
Yeah.
It is my
No.
favorite.
Isn't
I
when
love
they're
that he
they're on
becomes the straight
camel
man
tour?
almost.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that part.
There's one single perfect shot in this movie, and it's
Oh.
during a fight, and they cut away for a second onto a camel's face.
Oh, I love that.
And then they
scene.
cut away back to the fight, and I don't know why.
That camel has-
It's perfect.
Doesn't Matthew McConaughey then use that camel as a swing bar to
Yes.
kick
Yes.
somebody
yeah,
in the face?
baby,
Yes.
he does.
Those camels are great.
When this movie is just an action movie,
It's great.
so
Perfect. Yeah,
good.
It's great.
It's
It's
quippy,
exactly what
it's
I want.
fast.
I think where it fails is like you said the drama moments. It's just not.
But there aren't that many of them.
There aren't that many. There aren't that many. You're right.
Can we go back for just a second
Sure.
to something I have a problem with?
Yeah.
I'd like to talk. Sure, we can talk. We can hit a problem now, I think.
What's up with the Confederate boat in the beginning? Because they just all of a sudden be like, stop firing, and then they just kind of go off in the mist, and then they're in Africa.
I think it's supposed to be implied that they're out of range at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
It's
It's not well communicated,
It seems
but
like they're trying to present it as way more mysterious.
Well, that
Yeah.
is the thing. It is the missing Texas. No one knows where it went.
Yeah, I
Okay.
I have some questions regarding like why.
What do you mean, why?
Well, okay, so this is and I bring this up now and not what I did previously because I do have an issue with the plot. My biggest issue with the plot is it is never resolved. Matthew McConaughey's entire thing, because he didn't care about the Texas itself. Why was his thing? That never gets answered. Why they like board up and continue floating is never explained. They would have no way to contact to find out the Confederacy lost. They just decide to leave with all the gold that's never communicated at any point. Also, it was the ship of death. That never, because the whole reason is they think that is causing the poisoning of the water. That's the whole reason they go out there. It is never addressed what happens there.
I think what happens there is... So I think that is a purposeful red herring, actually. I'm going to
Yes.
give that one some
Mhm.
credit
Yeah.
because it's a legend. It's read off like kind of a
Spooky ghost story.
ghost story. And it's revealed later to be the power plant, obviously,
Mhm.
that's actually doing it. But for that to come up, it does give you a kind of supernatural fake out of, this is... what weird thing is going on
I
here?
didn't take it as a supernatural one. I just thought they had brought over some disease they had caught to a population that was
Yeah,
not
I
ready to
thought
get
that
it.
too.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
that too.
I never got
ghosts.
supernatural off of it.
I wanted ghosts.
Ghosts would have been
but
Ghost would have been a side plot I would have loved,
I
but
didn't need it, but I thought it would have been funny.
no. And
Um,
then we get a little too much into the mummy territory.
Yeah, I guess.
I
I
thought it was just they had brought some type of disease.
Well, they were dead.
Yeah.
So there's dead
It's
bodies
corpses
floating on a
poisoning
boat.
the water, I think, is the
Yeah.
other thing that could have been taken from that.
Because it's a rusty, bad boat that has been stuck in this water that's full of dead people that have just been floating because
Well, they never explain any of that.
you're just supposed
It
to...
never. It feels.
I
They
I don't
explain
know.
it. It's not
I don't-
spoon-fed, and it's not clearly, outlined.
When do
per
they
se.
explain it?
As far as how it floated?
No, the boat of death. And they go because they think the boat is poisoning the underground water.
No, they don't think the boat is poisoning the underground water. They think the boat has sunk.
And the rusty ship is poisoning the underground water.
They don't think that the boat is the reason for
That's
it.
absolutely what they thought it was.
And that moment when
Is
they're
that-
thinking about the boat being stuck in the riverbed, they go, that is how the toxins are spreading as far as they are, because there is a riverbed. Wherever the source of the toxins is going through the riverbed.
No, I think
No,
think
they
it's
definitely
the
thought
boat.
it was the boat.
No!
Yeah.
Uh-uh.
No, 100%.
I'm not. I don't remember. I don't remember one way or the
For-
other. if I'm being
before they
completely
find the
honest.
power plant, they're going off of the boat has sunken underground and is the thing that's causing the poison. So if we get rid of they say it because they say if we get rid of the boat, we're both satisfied because you get the boat and I get rid of the toxins.
No, it was if we find the riverbed, we find your boat. And if we find the boat, we find the riverbed to find the source of the toxins.
No, 100%. They at first think it's the boat.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Hold
just
on.
the idea that there is a sunken riverbed. That is why that all of the wells are being poisoned in general. If anything is getting into those, it would be coming from that. They do not think the 150-year-old boat is the source of the sudden plague.
So I'm good. Yeah, sure, we go along with that. That is the dumbest logic they can possibly make. Let's go to this dried up riverbed that's going to be miles long, find your specific boat, and surely that will be close to.
It's just the idea of figure out where the riverbed system lays. They've got
They
no other
figured
leads
that
to
out
go on.
I'll play devil's advocate here. I think she wanted to find the river just so she could get samples of the river water to find out what the
Where it
toxins
started.
are.
It's underground.
Sure.
But they could, if she's been checking
This
all of
movie
the wells.
has a helicopter blown up by a cannonball. Jumps in logic. It doesn't bother me as much.
Well,
here.
it's jumps in logic that took me out of the film, which is very hard to do when I am I immediately jumped back on. I was gung ho about the sand sailing
Yeah.
I bought in. I had a great time. The plot is a little messy.
I don't think it's as messy as you say it is.
We can go back to it.
We're not going
let's
back
leave
to
it.
it.
Let's leave it.
I'm not
With-
playing that game.
It's hard to disagree.
With that being said, I think that we should go ahead and move on to our questions
Yeah.
because we are getting into it, and we still have our bonus round.
Oh,
We've
that's
completed
right.
another rotation.
Oh yeah, I
So,
guess we have.
Let's go ahead and go around and talk about what our favorite thing of the movie is and what our least favorite thing is. Jack, you're back in first chair tonight, so
Favorite thing about the movie, when they're captured, there's that dude in the car who's having a great time. And then there's
that guy's
who
great.
is so sick of his singing or talking or whatever the fuck he's doing. That guy's the best. That's my favorite scene of the entire movie.
I can get behind that.
Least favorite scene, when they're in the car and she's like crying and Matthew McConaughey's talking about their plan. And it's just like, let's just move on from this.
Yeah. All right, I can see that. Sam, what about you?
I mean, other than everything with Al in it being my
That's
favorite,
fair.
because Al's up there. I think if I had to pick one, it is the "do not pull a Panama on my boat."
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh
The
gosh,
scene
the
is
whole
so
Panama
good.
thing is one of my favorites across the board. As far as worst, I don't know if I have like a full-on "this offended me" worst thing. I do think some of the stuff with General Kazim was just a little not even cartoonishly evil. It's almost
I would
not cartoonish enough.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You
I
know,
would prefer more cartoony, actually.
it's the like the Kazim and the Massard. I would have liked there to be a little more push and pull in that dynamic, because
Yeah.
other than it's just Massard trying to worm his way around Kazim, which I kind of like because he's sleazy and slimy and he's trying to just appeal to this man who has given him money and given him power in a way.
Yeah.
But he could have been scarier. Both of them could have been scarier.
Yeah, I
Massard
never-
being kind of a wuss was kind of nice because he didn't want to hurt people, but he also didn't want to take the blame for people getting hurt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool,
Rachel?
cool. Rachel.
Favorite scene, hands down, also includes Al. When they're driving and like trying to get away, the interplay between Al and Dirk regarding did you bring the explosives?
Couldn't
and
find 'em.
nope, couldn't find them. Nope, couldn't do it. Of course I brought the explosives. I love it because it's very much where Al knows what Dirk's about to suggest and he does not want, he's like, no, couldn't do it. No. And then just picking up the bag full of massive explosives that went off fairly easily.
He was shooting them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he was shooting them, but they were also being shot at, and he was waving the bag around.
Al's a genius.
Which is, well, okay.
Kind of, yeah, actually.
He's an idiot savant.
But I love that scene. It's so good. It brings me joy.
That's their entire relationship.
No,
too.
their whole interplay is excellent.
Even down to the canon scene about it'll never work.
Yeah.
They talk about this, it's almost kind of a throwaway thing of how they've known each other forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe
I believe that.
100% these guys
5,000.
have known each other forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, the section where it's like, what'd you do? Did you get coffee? Yeah, you get a receipt? Of course you got a receipt. Guy, you won too.
In the middle of
So
being
good.
fired at by a helicopter.
Yeah.
Love it. No, I absolutely believe they've known each other since kindergarten, like they said.
I mean, yeah, Dirk does introduce him as the wife, and that is
So it's great.
If only.
Yeah.
Again, more believable romantic storyline.
Yeah.
What was your least favorite, Rachel?
Least favorite. I think my least favorite scene is the interplay between General Kazim and Massard when Massard is like explaining like the issue with the plant, and because General Kazim is being like, I felt like way dumber than he was in the rest of the movie. Like none of that made like sense at all. That whole scene just aggravated me because the dialogue didn't feel natural.
Okay.
But that's it. That's probably the bigger thing for me.
Okay.
So
If I have to pick a scene.
I'm going to go least favorite first because I'm picking two action scenes, believe it or not.
Okay.
My least favorite scene in this movie is actually the solar panel fight, like the fight on the solar panels at the end. I didn't like that. It was fine, I guess, but it's such an aping of GoldenEye that I just found and it's worse in almost every way that I got in my head about it and I was like, this is not 006 versus 007. This is just Nameless Faceless Man versus Matthew McConaughey. And this I wish...
He had a name.
He did.
He
It was
did have a
His
name?
name was Zakara. They
Yeah.
don't say it until that last bit
I
with
missed-
Zakara go get him.
yeah,
I missed
basically,
that
but-
completely. I didn't realize that was the same guy, I
Mhm.
guess. But yeah, that it just kind of felt like it should have been bigger and better than it was for me. And it's well done. It's well done enough, but it's like, it's such an aping of a better version of that scene that I couldn't get into it.
Mhm.
That being said, though, my props go to just the full boat scene. It's like 3 minutes, 4 minutes long. It's a good long scene,
Mhm.
and it's awesome.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is
From
a
the
really
machine
good
gun
scene.
firing on them to the fake out of, oh, thank God it's over. And then the other two machine guns come out with the boats. Matthew McConaughey getting
You
knocked
want me
off
to
on
jump?
the other. And the back and forth and the dialogue between the three boys and the other boatmen. Oh, it's so good.
And the Admiral's on the phone the entire time.
The entire time freaking out like, no, please don't break my boat. Guys.
I
You
love
okay?
that they use the Admiral's cigar to set it off too, because
Yeah.
perfect.
It's really good. Like Rainn Wilson just sitting there trying to. It's a good action scene. You cannot. It's so fun. It's so silly. It's so dumb. It's so great.
Yeah.
You cannot ask for much more in an action movie
Mhm.
than that scene, in my opinion.
We didn't talk about the Admiral, but I do adore him.
Oh, he's great.
I would have
he's
loved
great.
him in a
I
lot
don't-
more scenes, but
I-
he was so good.
I think the character work in this is actually pretty good, save for a few spots. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
mainly the villains. The villains aren't very good, but our heroes are great.
Mhm.
So.
All right, so moving on to our second question: was this technically a good
good
movie?
movie.
Sam,
Jackson.
You have some
No.
trepidation.
No, it wasn't a technically good movie. It was a lot of fun, but fuck, man, it's a mess.
This is your only issue with the plot.
No, I mean...
Okay, the plot is a major
plot's
part of a
a-
movie,
I'm
Sam.
clarifying
Okay.
because there's a lot of parts to a movie, and the
There
plot
are.
is not the only
There
part.
are.
You know.
The plot's my biggest problem. I
Okay.
wouldn't say it's my only problem.
All right.
But yeah, the plot's a pretty big fucking deal. And I think it can, make or break a movie. I enjoyed it. I
Okay.
enjoyed watching it. But no. No.
Okay.
Sam.
I like the cinematography. I like all of our actors. The soundtrack is killer.
Yeah.
The dialogue is top notch. I'm here for all of the fast-paced action. I don't hate the plot that you hate so much. So I really do
Okay.
think it's a technically good movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Rachel.
Yeah. Technically, I will agree the soundtrack is great. I like the cinematography. The dialogue is great when they're quipping. I don't think it's great otherwise, and I do think the plot kind of takes away from it. I don't think it's technically, critically, I don't think it's a good movie.
So this is I'm not gonna be as big of a wet blanket on this one as I usually am. I think so. My answer is no, but with a but.
Okay.
No, but...
Better
This
than normal.
movie's so close. It's so close to being a yes. It almost hurts. Because it's like, if you cut a little bit of the fat, if you clean up the subplot
Yeah.
with the thing a little bit, I think this is an awesome movie. The problem is, it's a little too long. Editing in places doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The plot is very, very messy, even for an action movie. And action movies are my favorite genre. I'm willing to give them a lot of leeway in comparison to everything else because, let's face it, action movies are supposed to be a little dumb and a little schlocky. They're supposed to make you feel like you can punch a boulder and win. And that's what this movie does, mostly. But it cannot be ignored that there's so much of this movie that just might as well not exist, and it would be better for it. And I don't think you can ignore that. And going off a point that Rachel said, quipping's great. When the boys are talking, it's great. But a lot of the other dialogue, particularly the more serious sections, doesn't feel weighty, doesn't feel tense. I don't think I ever really feared for the characters very much. There was not a bunch, and the more intense moments, I never really was afraid for them, which isn't super important. It's an action movie. You know your heroes are probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
But a little bit more. Just it's so close.
I
That's
think
what kills
it's.
me
I
about
think.
this
Yeah, I
movie.
think its greatest sin is it is so close to being technically a really, really fantastic action film, and it just stutters. It feels like it stutters in points.
It gasses out a little too often, and that's the biggest problem I have with it. But It's a grudging no. I want this to be a yes so bad, Sam. And I get where you're coming from. I really do. But we should move on. I've rambled enough about this.
Which puts us at our third question, which is, would you watch it again? Jackson?
Hell yeah, I'd watch it again. Man, I may have problems with this movie, but I had a fucking great time watching it. I love dumb fucking adventure movies like this.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
Sam?
I love it. We own it. This is like iRobot. This movie was on TV like every Saturday one summer.
Okay.
It was my brother and I. This is one of the few movies that we both is Sahara on. Put it on. We're done. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
You know, we're not even gonna fight about it. That's the movie we're
Sahara Day.
watching. It's so good. You know, I can't think of Magic Carpet Ride without thinking of this movie. Like, that is what that song is connected
It's an
to.
excellent use
Forever.
of that
Yes,
song.
very much so.
So yeah, absolutely. I love this movie. Rachel?
Fuck yeah, I'm gonna watch it again. That was a great ass time.
Yeah.
Do I think it's a great, like, technically movie?
No.
No, but it doesn't have to be because it's fun and it's something you can put on in the background and sit down and enjoy once you've seen it once at literally any point. You don't have to watch it from the beginning because it's just fun.
Yeah.
Jake?
This is a yes for me too. Unsurprising.
Yeah.
I like big dumb action movies also, and this one is really close to being good. Like I said, I kind of enjoy being able to like go in and think about what changes I'd make to it, and that's kind of fun in its own right. And this we've talked a lot about background noise movies this time around because we basically had jumping ahead a little bit. We basically had 2 background noise movies, I think, and 2 like technically well made movies.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my kind of background noise.
Mhm.
It's like great just if I want something going on off in my periphery, if I'm doing something, if I'm cleaning, if I'm cooking. I think this is a great movie for that.
Yeah,
and I think this is a great movie to sit around and watch with people.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd watch this movie again. And plus, like, the Matthew McConaughey is great, and Steve Zahn is great. Yes, got it that time.
Yep. Proud of you.
I love a quotable movie.
It's so good.
It's
I love a movie I can put on in the background and tune in for the really good moments.
All right. Now we talk about we've completed another round.
Yes, another set of 4.
Another set of 4, and so now we need to adjust our lists a little bit. We've watched 8 movies now.
Yep.
Oh, are we doing a cumulative?
Oh yeah, we're doing cumulative.
Let's-
I told you we're keeping
should
a
we
spreadsheet.
We
We can do 4. We
this
can do out of
block
the 4, and
then
then we'll do the cumulative.
Okay.
Okay.
So who wants to go first? Jackson, first chair.
What
So
are we doing?
out
Are
of
we
the
doing
4
best?
that
We're
we've
doing
seen,
the
The
4
four
out
that
of
we've
these.
seen.
and then the best.
Yeah.
Best and
So-
the worst, and then
What have we watched this
We have
time?
watched this session. Warcraft,
Yeah.
Green Room,
Yeah.
Sahara, and Everything is Illuminated.
Oh god, my favorite everything is Illuminated. That's not even like hard. Least favorite.
Oh man, Jack, this is. I can tell this is weighing on you.
God, I like Green Room, but I think it's Green Room is my least favorite.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to elaborate on that, or just no?
No.
Okay, that's fair. Sam.
As far as like best movie, because I could look at this from a couple different parameters. There's the which one I'm going to watch the most often, and which one do I think is like the best out of these 3 as far as like through all possible parameters. And if that's the case, then it's Everything is Illuminated.
Yeah.
Just because it's got both funny and like heartwarming, and it makes me sit and think, you know, the entire way through. As much as I love Sahara, you know, it's a party movie more than anything else.
Yeah.
As far as like least favorite, Warcraft,
All right.
for sure.
Fair.
Like-
Jack has mysteriously disappeared for this, so he can't defend it. So let's tear into Warcraft.
And it's just because like the level of I love fantasy, schlocky nonsense.
Mhm.
I love buying into whatever ridiculous premise is present.
Yeah.
I love understanding a magical system. And Warcraft is not designed for me. It was such a movie designed for people who already were in on the joke, already in on the system,
Yeah.
as it was. And as if I'm gonna have one movie that I could tell you what all happens in, it's been a while since we watched Warcraft, and I could not tell you. I could not tell you most everything that happened in that movie anymore, other than they fought, they came in, they tried to take over someone else's place, and people took umbrage with that.
Yeah.
Which,
As they would.
I think I'd rather watch anything else. As far as on this list, all of them would come on first. Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Okay. Rachel?
Yeah, I think best movie has to be Everything Is Illuminated.
Okay.
And I think for me that's both from like an enjoyment factor and technical. Mm-hmm. I think it is a beautiful movie. I think it's funny. I think it's got good drama. Everything has weight in it, it feels like. Yeah, it's got to be my best. Most likely to want to show to somebody else, probably.
Okay.
My least favorite, it has to be Warcraft, and I'm in on a lot of those jokes. I just as far as like if I'm looking at like the technical sins of things and the things I'm most likely to rewatch, and I totally get Jack's point with Green Room. That's not really. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I like that kind of movie. But I understand that's a niche situation. For Warcraft, for me, has the opposite sin that Sahara has, where Sahara has really, like, kind of cardboard villains. A lot of the heroes, especially the human heroes in Warcraft, are just so bad. Like, their characters, it's so bad, it is half of a good movie.
Yeah.
So.
Fair.
Yeah.
All that,
Nah, go ahead. I'll talk about it.
You can talk about it.
I have more fun. Like, my main thing is I get it, but I just have more fun watching Warcraft.
No, that's totally fair, man.
To watch Patrick Stewart say the N-word twice.
Okay, and that's obvious.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, mine's gonna be the same. I'm gonna finish up round 3 of dumping on Warcraft. I guess it's my least favorite of the 4. Yeah, it's bad, and I don't like Warcraft very much. I don't like World of Warcraft at all. Mm-hmm. And it has one good character that I care about, and everyone else kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm. And he dies like 30 minutes before the end of the movie.
Yeah, there's so much wasted in that movie, and it should have just been like a CGI cutscene that Blizzard made in-house, I think. Mm-hmm. Everything Is Illuminated is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's going to take a hell of a movie to even come close to it, and I think that watching it a second time just cemented that even harder for me. So, yeah, it's a great movie, and I could probably spend another half hour talking about it, but I'm just going to finish up on that. It's a great movie, and it's my number 1 out of these 4. Are you ready for the big question now?
Yeah. Overall,
out of the
8 movies,
we watched 8 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Wild Wild West, baby!
Number 1, undefeated national champion.
No, what have we watched?
We have
so
watched
far?
the Wiki Wiki Wild Wild West. Yeah. We have watched I, Robot. We have watched Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter. Yeah. We have watched Top Secret. Following that, we moved on to what order did we do that in? We did it in Everything's Illuminated. Yeah. Warcraft, flip those. And then we did Green Room, and then Sahara.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesus. That's hard. Not to decide the top, because I think the top is Everything Is Illuminated still.
Okay, so that's still your top.
It's still my top.
Do we do top then bottom? For all of us?
You can do it either way you want to. Yeah. I've been doing bottom and top.
Okay.
Bad news followed by good news.
As is the way.
This is
the worst one that we watched. That's honestly kind of hard to decide.
Is it?
It is.
To me it is. To me it is because I have a love for a lot of these movies, even if they're dog shit.
Yeah.
I already know Jake, so.
Jack and I are enjoying the bottom consistently right now, so I feel you.
God, I think Wild Wild West ekes out Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter. I think Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter is on the bottom.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's
Wild Wild West is it's better. It's just a bit better to me.
It's a better
to me
bad.
Personally, it's a better bad.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam?
Personally, out of all of these, I still like Top Secret the best. I'm gonna be honest.
Damn,
that's fair.
Yeah, fair. Top Secret's in my second position.
Because I'll be honest, Everything is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's moving. I could watch Top Secret every weekend.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not gonna get an argument for me. They're both really good for completely different reasons.
They're different. They fill different needs in my life. However, I could every weekend. It's a comfort movie. It's just it has everything I need it to. As far as worst, maybe I should say least favorite.
No, worst is fine.
Worst.
Yeah.
You could also go with horriblest. Waste of time.
Jake has strong opinions about whatever's on his bottom, and it's one of 2 movies.
I know which movie is on his bottom.
I have strong opinions about my bottom 3, actually, but...
I know at least 2 of those.
Yeah.
I do too, for just completely different reasons.
I think it's still gonna be Wild West, because while I have issues with Warcraft, I'd still do anything for those orcs.
Yeah, that's
So, so yeah, Top Secret and Wild West still top and bottom for me.
solid.
Mm-hmm. Rachel.
Yeah, top. I'm gonna go with Everything Is Illuminated.
Okay.
I love it dearly. My number 2 is also Top Secret, but I really love Everything Is Illuminated. And like just so good. The one I am least likely to watch again, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's not Wild Wild West. I think it's Warcraft, honestly. I think I'm more willing to watch Wild Wild West, and I think I would have a better time. And that's not saying I wouldn't watch Warcraft. In that episode, I did say I would watch it again. Absolutely. I would. I absolutely would. I'd put it on in the background. I think if Warcraft and Wild Wild West were both on, I would click Wild Wild West. Absolutely.
I'm shocked, actually, by that.
Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah, because you were really down on Wild Wild West when we recorded
Yeah!
the last roundup.
Has it percolated in your brain? Has it
No,
made room
it's
for
not.
itself there?
The wiggles.
Okay, no. So this is going to be a weird situation. I think the reason I'm more willing to watch it is because I can make fun of it, and it's more just fun to make fun of.
Okay.
And it is not this like pseudo war film that is both silly but trying to make me feel things and not doing it.
Okay.
Wild Wild West is just schlocky enough that it's fun to make fun of. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I caught an episode of Wild Wild West, like an actual episode of it the other
The
day.
show is actually
It's
pretty
genuinely
good.
a
Like,
good
it's
show.
actually a
I
good
had
show.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
It's aged, but it's good. It's
What?
like, it's actually pretty top programming for
Mhm.
that time.
That was sort of like a non sequitur kind of thing, but like I just needed to know that it was genuinely a good time.
No, I've also watched some episodes and it's quite good. I guess that comes down to me, doesn't
I'm
it?
so ready.
So hey, number 1,
Yeah.
Everything Is Illuminated
Go
is in
figure.
my top 10 movies of all time. This is gonna be a really hard one to dethrone.
Mhm.
We've said all of this before, but not in song. Do. Hey, Hansel and Gretel, the
Knew it.
movie that
Knew
keeps
it.
on
Knew
getting
it.
worse in
Knew
my
it.
head, and every time I think about it, it just gets worse, because, boy, what a waste of fucking money that movie was. I can't believe it made its money back. I think about it all the time, and I've even soured on the prop and costume design. I don't even like that
It just
anymore.
keeps
I
deteriorating.
keep thinking about it. Every time I think about it, I think about how fake What's-His-Face's gun looks, and I can't stop myself from hating it more and more. And everything time
It's
I
the
think
gift
about
that
it,
keeps on giving.
I hope, God, I hope that we hit a movie that I hate more than this one, but I don't know if it's going to happen.
I don't know what I want to aim for now. I'm trying to find a movie that'll dethrone Everything Is Illuminated or Hansel and
Hansel and
Gretel.
Gretel.
Yo,
Everything
Sam.
Is Illuminated is going to be both of the Hansel and Gretel is going to be easier than Everything Is Illuminated.
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. Like, you know how Everything Is Illuminated is like purposeful and has a lot to say while not being overbearing and not being like beating you over the head is.
Mhm.
It doesn't ever beat you over the head. Hansel and Gretel has nothing to say and beats you over the head with how, look at how wacky and kooky we are. We have nothing to say. We're shit and we know it. Buy our movie, please. And that's all it is. And I don't like that. And I keep thinking about it. And I keep thinking about it again and again. And I'm never going to stop thinking about it. So yeah, bottom, hard bottom. Actually, not hard bottom. I should rephrase that. Warcraft is bad. Warcraft is really bad. And it gets worse every time I think about it too, but not quite on the trajectory of straight to the bottom of the quantum barrel, as Jackson
I'm
so graciously termed it.
I'm interested in how those age for you.
How
Like,
those age for me?
I'm wondering if there is something that can unseat both of those, or if because of the aging process of your hatred on both of those, if those will continue to be the bottom just because you've had more time to percolate on how bad they are.
I think that something could dethrone them because, like, as bad as both of them are, I can find some like legitimate good in both of them. you would have to find a movie that like I find nothing good about. Like nothing good
I've
about.
got some options in mind. I don't know if I'm willing to watch them again, but I've got some options
It's
in
Midsummer
mind.
one because he's already seen that.
Honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was going to
I
make
have
you
nice
sit
things
through
to say.
Xanadu,
No,
man.
I have nice things to say about Midsummer more than I have to say about either of those.
That's fair.
All right, so
I
we've got
probably do too.
Stardust, we've got Xanadu. I've got options. We can
Oh.
watch Howard the Duck, my man.
You don't want to do that. You wouldn't do that to us, Sam. I'm calling your bluff.
Just because I've already seen Howard the Duck 4 times. Which is 4 times too many.
And on that bombshell, I've been Jake.
Yeah, I've been Rachel.
I'm Sam.
I'm Jackson.
Thanks for listening, everybody.